Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? The fantasy MDs are back, and actually now we're doing a little rebranding, going by the fantasy baseball MDs, just trying to get our reach out there a little bit more. Today is Thursday, December 8th, 2022. This is our 55th episode. If you guys are new to the podcast, if you've been here, from last year, all we ask is that if you like what you hear, if we've helped you out at all. Just give us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening. If you're on YouTube, you just click the little subscribe. We appreciate it. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the Amazon, anywhere you can pretty much find podcasting. We are there. I just do want to throw out a quick apology to everybody. We've been trying to get the YouTube live stuff up and working. It just hasn't really been friendly to either one of us here. Trust me, Matt and I have been working very, very hard on this, and just hasn't come to fruition yet. But we promise you throughout the year, we're going to keep trying, and hopefully it gets going. I'm your host, as always, Dominic Martino, here with my co-host, my better half, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane. Matt, how are we doing today?
Other than the technical difficulties making me want to bash something over my head, and my wife probably wanted to stab me.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Fair enough, brother. I hear that. I hear that. So you know what, guys? We're kind of just gonna get right into it. Today's episode will include some rankings debates, a few players that Matt and I are must have guys on all of our teams for the 2023 fantasy baseball season. And we're actually gonna do, if we have enough time, our 2022 fantasy baseball awards, which we're gonna do a little bit earlier, but life gets in the way sometimes. So we're gonna try and do them today if we have enough time. But first, I want to start with a little opening statement for the 2023 season. Just to let everybody, if you're new here or if you've been here, we have a lot of new stuff going on. So I just have a quick little statement. I'm going to try to run through this as quick as possible. So, as I said, the Fantasy Baseball MDs are back for the 2023 season. We truly appreciate all the support, followers, feedback that we received last year. It was an honor to have all of you watch, listen, and enjoy what we're doing. If you're new here, we're glad you're tuning in. A quick little bit about us, right? Matt and I created the Fantasy Baseball MDs last year. We pride ourselves on making fantasy baseball information very easy to understand and getting to our points as quickly as possible. We're not going to beat you guys over the head with all these crazy stats, that some other podcasts might do. We like to keep it very, very simple, light, want everybody to enjoy everything. Well, we also want to let you guys know, if you were here from last year, we have a lot of new stuff coming your way. First of all, we have a new revamped logo. Thanks to my brother Matt. Couldn't have done it without him. Guy's a genius. He did wonderful, wonderful work with that. If you got any feedback on it, if you like it, you don't like it, we definitely want to hear what you got going. Matt also created us a brand new website, which is linked in our link tree, which is available on every one of our platforms that we're on. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, it's everywhere. And Matt, once again, personal thank you for me. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
No
And
problem.
on that website, guys, and it's live right now, you'll be able to find Matt and I's full rankings. Matt and I have gone very deep this year. We got about 35 first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, shortstop. I know I got to around 80 outfielders, and I feel like Matt is like at about 70, right, brother? Right around 70. We both
Yeah.
got over 100 starting pitchers ranked, and we're going to actually have for this year the first time our full prospect rankings coming soon, and we are going to have an episode out on that one, right? So with that being said, let's hit the finger on the pulse. If you're new here, that's usually our opening segment. If you've been here, you know a little about the finger on the pulse already. So Matt, why don't you take the first one? I feel like I've been ranting a little bit over here. Go with the first one, brother. Let's hear your thoughts.
I'm sorry, I'm lost on the notes here. Got you. All
Okay.
right. So, should I just go with our favorite?
You can go whoever you want, to be honest. Just pick and choose whoever you'd like, my brother.
All right, Mr. Aaron Judge.
Oh yeah, the big NY. Thank God
Hmm.
he's back.
Amen to that. I honestly thought the man was going to the Giants. You heard in rumors. You had
Oh
that
yeah,
one reporter that
that
said,
John Heyman tweet had everybody going nuts.
"Screw you, John Heyman." That's all I got to say. You
Yeah.
suck. You suck at life. Um, Had me nervous as all hell.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think he's got at least good 5 years in him before he starts teetering off. So this is gonna be a great sign. It's great for fantasy. He got the bump up. I mean, he got one bump up. He was my number 3. Now he's my number 2 outfielder. So, overall, it's just better that he's back at home. You know, I'd be homesick without him. We would suck for the next couple years. So thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's a 9 year, $360 million contract, as Matt said. I about five, maybe you get 5 good years out of him, and then that's more than enough. As you know, Matt was saying, I have him as my number one outfielder, but it is debatable if you like Acuna, if you like Julio. A lot of those guys are they're in the same range. If you want a little bit more speed, I could see leaning towards Acuna or Julio. But if you want that, just monstrous, potentially number one player in fantasy overall again, that's Aaron Judge. I think specifically in points leagues, you might want to lean Aaron Judge if because you're not necessarily leaning towards one category, you just want the overall production. But I will say this, once again, if you're new here, Matt and I's rankings are specifically geared towards head-to-head, categories leagues, and it also Roto, which kind of go hand in hand there. So we do tend to favor head-to-head categories because that's what Matt and I love to play. We're not really big points leagues guys, so we might be a little biased just to give everybody the heads up. So with that being said, that's pretty much enough about Aaron Judge. I just do want to say if you look at some early ADPs, he's going fifth off the board, and Julio and Acuna do seem to be going a little bit above him. But it's very, very early in the season, and you really only got crazy people like Matt and I and all the rest of the experts doing all these drafts. So with that being said, let's move on to the next guy. Let's talk about a little Xander Bogaerts here. He heads over to the Padres, and I believe they gave him a monsters deal. I just wanted to pull up the logistics of it, so I'm not misspeaking here. Yeah, it's an 11-year deal for Xander Bogaerts, right? And what's the money on that again? Ba ba ba. Well, he got a lot of money basically. I don't have the specifics here. He gets paid a lot of money. He's going into a better lineup than he was last year. Let's give you Xander's stats real quick because I think he's only going to get better. He's a very high batting average guy. If they put him near the top of the lineup, I think he's just going to have another monstrous season like he always does. He's only 29 years old, so he's not getting old yet. He's just going to do that same old thing. He's a career 292 hitter. Last year he had 84 runs and 73 RBIs. I think you can see an increase on both of those. 15 home runs. He's going to be around that. Maybe if you get lucky, he gets back to 20 like he did in 2021. And he chip in a couple of steals as well. So, I think Xander Bogaerts is going to move up, draft boards. Matt, you think he's moving up as well?
And Xander?
Yes.
I don't think so. Not for me, at least.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, personally, it's a good landing spot, but at the same time, he's one of those guys where he's ranked where he is because he's a really good baseball player, right? He's not like an outstanding like fantasy baseball player. He's kind of more like he's going to bat the 300. He's going to get you good RBIs and runs on that team. He's not going to get you to home runs. He's not going to steal too many bases. So like that's the caveat, right? So how do you balance that when there's a lot more upside, especially in shortstop, which is probably like the second most deepest position this year, if not the most deepest. So
that's definitely steep.
That's where I have a hard time moving him up. It's a great landing spot. I haven't reviewed my rankings since this morning when the signing came in. So
yeah, I think
have to see if he's going to get a bump up or two, but he's not going to go astronomical to the moon.
Yeah, see, yeah, we're right in the same range. It looks like Matt has him at 15, as he stated. He hasn't really, touched his ranking since the move was made. I probably had him about at the same. I think I actually had him at 16. I moved him up to 11 this morning. And as things go on during the off season, we're going to constantly update our rankings. Once again, you could find them at the Fantasy MD's website, which is in our link tree. Just head over to anywhere on social media, click the link tree, and you can follow along and see where we got everybody ranked as we talk about it. So, Matt, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, why not? So we got here's something nice for me to go see every other weekend, and that's Mr. Trey Turner heading to Philly.
Yes, sir. That's a big one.
If you all don't know, they supplanted me out of New York, kicked me out because I'm too good at life, and kicked me over to Philly, which is fine with me. But it's nice now because now I get to go see all the great stars there, which now they're adding Trey Turner, which is really nice. And I think he's going to be a great fit. I think they're going to allow him to steal the bases. Only thing I don't like is the projected batting order, which can change. I mean, it's fresh. It's people more like throwing out hypotheses, and that's people saying Schwarber's going to lead off. And that right there will kind of hurt his fantasy value for me because that means he's not going to get the green light every single game. If he's leading off, he's no question probably going to be my number one pick going into this season. But if he's batting two most of the time, I'm going to be pretty upset. And he's going to be a top 10, top 15 pick for me. but he really hurts his value at that point because he ain't going to be Mr. 60 steals. He's going to be more like 30, which is great, but he's not really a 30-30 guy every season,
Yeah.
even though Citizens Bank Park may help that and get those bombs up. So pros and cons, we'll see. I think he has all the possibilities in the world to be the number one fantasy baseball player this year, as long as he's leading off.
Yeah, Matt. I think you pretty much nailed that one. I'll just chip in a little bit. As far as early ADP goes, he is going off the board first more often than not. He had a monster year last year. Trey Turner had 101 runs, 21 bombs, 100 RBIs, 27 steals, and he hit 298. Trey Turner's a career 300 hitter, so you're going to get the batting average. You're going to get at least, I'd say, 25 plus steals. And then, as Matt stated, let's see, maybe they decide to move Schwarber down one because he's going to hit a bunch of home runs, and then if Trey Turner's hitting first, he's going to have somebody to drive in more often than not. I think that would be the way to go. But as Matt stated already, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. The last thing is, what with the steals is, if he's hitting second, it's going to be less steals. If he's hitting first, it's going to be more steals. So let's take the next one. Wilson Contreras heads over to the Cardinals to replace Yadier Molina. See, the thing is, I have him ninth at catcher. I mean, he's very, very solid, very, very, good player. I just couldn't really find the room to move him up. I think, the top end at catcher is pretty solid actually for this year. You're going to have a little more stability at the position than you did last year, in my opinion, especially with guys at the, lower end like MJ Melendez and hopefully Francisco Alvarez can be good for the Mets. But with Wilson Contreras specifically, he had kind of mediocre year last year. He had 65 runs, 22 bombs, 55 RBIs, chipped in 4 steals, and he had 243. Now, over the last 3 years, that batting average kind of has been slipping. Even if you go to the last, 5 out of 6 years, he only has 1 year where he hit over 250, which was 2019. Once again, Wilson Contreras, who we're talking about here. So you're going to get bombs. You're going to get RBIs in that lineup. You're going to get runs in that lineup. Only thing that's really questionable is the batting average. If he hits 250, he hits 250. But, going to look good in pretty much every other category. I think he's easily a top 10 catcher. If you want to argue with me that he's the number 5 catcher, sure. I'm not gonna beat you over the head for that one. But Matt, you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You pretty much killed it right there. I mean, I love Contreras. He's one of my favorites. I actually have him higher than Dom. He's my number 7 overall catcher.
Not gonna argue with you.
I've had him literally every year that I've won a championship, so that's saying something. And I've had him probably every year for the last 5 years, except last year. He's one of my favorites. He has a nice bat. It's going to be great on that team. So, let's go. But let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Justin Verlander. It's probably the first signing of the offseason. It's really nice landing spot for him personally, in my opinion. I think that he's getting an upgrade in stadium. He goes from a good park to a fantastic pitching park, which is going to be elevated. I think the wins are going to be about the same. Mets won over 100 games. Astros were just astronomical, won the whole thing. I think that he's going to be a great pitcher. I have him ranked pretty high. You can't really say much more about him. I think he has it this year. I mean, I know everybody's probably worried, oh, is the bag going to drop? When's the other shoe going to drop? Where is this the year where he dies? But I mean, to be honest, the only thing I'm probably going to say is he's going to have a little bit of the World Series hangover. He may have a slower start. That may be my only prediction of a knock. But who cares? He's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he proved that he doesn't have to miss a beat after getting TJ at 38 to roll back at the age 39 season and win Cy Young. That says something. I don't think this train's going to stop anytime soon, in my opinion.
Matt, I really liked the astronomical. I liked the wordplay on that one. That was very, very good.
That was not intentional. Did not
no,
even
but it was
realize I did
good.
that.
I liked it though. It was nice. It was very smooth, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So with Justin Verlander here, I've got him ranked 4th, and I mean, it's just he's all reliable at this point. At this point, with the way starting pitcher is, a lot of the guys at the top are very, very good, right? So I mean, you got Corbin Burns, you got Sandy Alcantara. You can kind of throw out a question about any of them, right? Oh, is Sandy going to be able to keep throwing 200 innings every year at the volume he's doing? Corbin Burns, oh, he's only done it for 2 or 3 years. DeGrom, is DeGrom going to be able to stay healthy? So why not just go with somebody that out of besides the COVID year and he missed 2021. Besides those 2 years, Verlander. I'm gonna go back to 2016 for Verlander, right? I'm gonna read you off his Verlander's innings per year. 2016, 227, 2017, 206, 2018, 214, 2019, 223, 2022, 175. So I think it's an easy bank for Verlander, as long as he stays healthy, which you can kind of throw out the injury concern thing about almost anybody these days. As long as he stays healthy, he's a top five pitcher easily in fantasy. So I think you take him in that top five and you feel very, very comfortable, with that. And the man got the bag. So I mean, he's going to want to go out to New York and show everybody that he's worth the $43 million a year that he's getting for the next 2 years. So feel safe. Feel safe with drafting Justin Verlander as your ace this year. I wouldn't have any concern about him. So let's head to, I think we got one or two more guys here with the free agency thing, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up with that. We'll move into our next segment, which is a little ranking debate. So stick around. We're going to have a fun time with that one. Let's talk about DeGrom, another, older pitcher who got the bag. He gets 5 years. I believe it was 185 million for DeGrom. I'll tell you this: the park is a little bit worse. And he goes to a little bit worse park, a little bit worse team. So, and he did have a little bit of a home run problem last year. He only pitched. Let me see if this wants to work with me. He only pitched 64 innings to Grom last year, and he gave up 9 home runs, which is kind of a little bit high. But he's not like he hasn't given up a lot of home runs in a season before. He gave up 19 in 2019, and then he gave up actually 28 home runs in 2017. The ERA was a little bit inflated that year for DeGrom. In 2017, with the 28 bombs, he gave up 3.53 ERA. The whip was 118, but he still threw 201 innings, 239 strikeouts. I say that's like the floor. I say that's the worst. And if you get that from Jacob DeGrom, you're not going to complain. I mean, maybe you don't want to draft him as the number one overall pitcher anymore. I actually got him. I moved DeGrom down to third, but I think he's going to fall a little bit more. I think I'm going to put Verlander over him, and maybe I wind up putting Max Scherzer over him as well. So maybe he falls to fifth for me, Degrom. But once again, if his floor is low threes ERA with maybe like a 1.15 WHIP, big strikeouts, decent wins, why not? Matt, what are your thoughts here on Degrom?
Oh, DeGrom. So there's a couple things for him, right? I think outside of him probably being the greatest pitcher to the number one pitcher in all of baseball when healthy, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with him the last 2 years. He's just been hurt.
Yeah.
He's turning into a real Clayton Kershaw. He's on my flangy list.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't know what he's been doing. He's been hanging out with Alberto Montesi, but it's one of those things where my guy's got to figure it out. Now, one thing is now it's going to be a new medical staff. So maybe the Texans adjust, knowing that he has some medical problems, and maybe they adjust. Maybe they limit him in innings, which could suck, but also at the same time, like when the guy throws 12 Ks in, I don't know, an inning, which physically is impossible, but you know what I mean. The guy is incredible. Maybe they make adjustments. Maybe they time manage him, whereas at the Mets they didn't. Let's see what happens. I'm not overdrafting him either. I don't know where I'm really willing to draft him yet. He's such a touchy subject. I have him ranked. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let me see. I got it here, man. I'm probably closer than you. You got him eighth, actually. You got him eighth, which I think is fair.
Right. But the thing is, though, like when you say I have him eighth, even if he's there as the eighth pitcher off the board, am I going to pick him, though? So here's the thing. And here's my philosophy, too, in drafting, especially pitchers, especially in the early round. That you're looking for your sure things, your surefires. You're not really trying to take these super risks, especially with somebody that's injured. If I'm taking Ronald Acuna's second year, paid off. That's kind of different. But a guy that's been hurt, that's another thing. So it's like, hey, who do I have right behind him? I have Shane McClanahan. I mean, I might pick.
That's a good lead-in. It's a good lead into our next topic.
Right. But let me finish. I might pick Shane because it's like, okay, he may be a little safer, and that the upside is there because he only did it last season, but at the same time, he has no injury history. He hasn't burned me. Now, clearly, DeGrom's better, but is DeGrom going to miss a month, a week, 3 months? What is where we're at here? And it's very confusing. I love DeGrom, and we'll stay tuned as the season comes upon us of where to draft him because I'm still confused. Sorry if that confused everybody.
All right, so I agree. Basically, Matt's saying, just be careful with DeGrom because the phalanges are weak. He's not always going to be reliable, especially over the last few years with injuries. So
Hmm.
let's get our last free agent, and we're going to keep this one quick, and then we're going to get into the ranking debates, and that's going to be super fun. So, guys, please stick around for that. You're going to enjoy it. We got Jose Abreu heads over, to the Astros, which is I think it's a huge move for him. And here's the funny thing, right? Jose Abreu only hit 15 bombs last year. If you adjust it to if he played all of his games at Houston, it would have been 22 home runs. And then that line looks a lot better. The line of 85, 22, 75, and 304 looks a lot better for Jose Abreu than, the 15 bombs he did hit. And then in that lineup, that deadly, deadly Houston lineup, which is, better than the White Sox, the 75 RBIs could easily turn into 100. Jose Abreu's led the league in RBIs multiple times. He had 100 RBIs in what was that? Like 6 out of his first 7 seasons for Abreu. And then even in 2021, he had 117 RBIs. He's a very, very good hitter with runners in scoring position. I actually moved him up very, very significantly. I believe I have Jose Abreu as my 5th first baseman off the board. So that's saying a lot. I think early ADP has him going around pick 100. I think that's an absolute steal. So, my thing with Jose Abreu is go out and get him in those early drafts before the ADP shoots through the roof. I think Jose Abreu is going to have a monster season.
I mean, Abreu could have a really good season if they start banging on them trash cans again. I'm just saying. Just
I don't
saying.
think he needs that. He's a career 292 hitter.
But no, I'm just saying. They start banging on garbage cans again, and Alex Bregman starts returning the glory. But that's a whole nother shade I have to throw another day. But I mean, Abreu going there is fantastic. Now there's more people in that lineup. They're going to have to pitch to the guy. He's a fantastic hitter. We all know this. I wonder if the power is going to be around. He should hit 30 bombs. He's going to hit, that 292, 300. I'm super excited for it. I'm really scared as anybody in the AL. For him
Yeah,
being
yeah.
on that team, it's very scary because, they won the World Series. Unfortunately, screw the Astros. I hate them more than the Cowboys. So, it's just one of those things. I think it's a great sign of Jose Abreu. Unfortunately, I will be rooting against him every single week.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough, my brother. So, with that being said, we're gonna move off the free agent talk, and we're gonna get into some ranking debates. And basically, I'm gonna call this the I'm gonna pick on that segment because of where I don't like his rankings.
That's fine with me.
So, so guys, this is basically part of why we started the MDs. I'm gonna give you a little premise here. Matt and I, playing fantasy baseball a long time, a lot of championships between the two of us. And we're pretty much best friends. So we always, Matt would call me on his way home from work all the time, be like, yo, let's talk while I got the time real quick. And we would always just go back and forth about our rankings because Matt and I have written out our own rankings, for the last, let's say, like, at least 10 years. So, we would always go back and forth. No, you got this guy too low. You got this guy too high. So that was basically how the fantasy baseball MDs have come to be. So Matt, turned to me and said, hey, let's take these debates and let's put them on video, put it out there for the public and try and help everybody out, not just each other. So, now it's going to turn into the basically pick on Matt segment with his rankings here. So we're going to start with Shane McClanahan, and that's the first one, as I said, a little lead in here. I'm a little bit lower on him. I've got him ranked 17th, which anyone could say is kind of low, but I would like to, see a little bit more from Mr. McClanahan, heading into next year. Really only has the one huge year under his belt, which doesn't mean, he's not going to be good. I still got him ranked in the top 20, which I think is great. But Matt, let's see, where do you have him again? And Matt has him
9.
ninth. So we're almost 10 apart. It's not a huge difference.
It
But
is,
I
though.
think you got a couple of guys under him that I might take over him. I think you got like Julio Arias, Mr. Brandon Woodruff himself, I know that's one of your guys. And did you have Nola under him too?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Nola buried. We're not even getting into that. I should have put Nola on the list too, but Matt's got Nola a little bit low there too.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, I need to hear the defense of Mr. Shane McClanahan here. And wait, let me preface one more thing. Down the stretch last year, I know he was a little banged up, but I don't know if this is gonna take a little bit too long. But Matt, yeah, so I know he was bad down the stretch last year, leading into that injury. Maybe he was pitching a little bit hurt, but down the stretch there, he had a couple of bad starts there. So Matt, let's hear the Shane McClanahan in the top 10 defense.
All right, don't worry. I'll make this quick for you so you can move them up your rankings. So,
Okay.
Shane McClanahan. Let's start off this way. It hasn't been 1 year. It's been one monster year. But
Yes.
from his first year up in the bigs in 2021, he pitched 123 innings. All right. which is a solid outing. He had 10 wins,
All right.
141 Ks, and a 3.43 ERA and a 1.27 WHIP. Right now, that's a nice, and I'm saying nice start
Oh
off.
yeah,
Right,
very good, very good.
that's better than Gilly Gilly, and Gilly Gilly had a nice season this year. Right, he had a
Mr.
way
Luke
better
Gilbert.
season. Right, so now he takes that nice start season and goes into year two and says, "Yo, guys, I'm here. 166 innings, 12 wins, 194 Ks, and a 2.54 ERA with a .93 WHIP." Now he corrected his WHIP problem. His ERA is there's going to be some regression. He's obviously not going to get a 250. He's probably going to get a high twos, probably a three. Let's be realistic here. It's very hard to get a sub three ERA. But those Ks are there. He's going to get more innings, hopefully. I mean, he could be where Tyler Glasnow was a couple of years ago, where they let him rip and just go every week. He may not be on that pitch count now that he's on for since this is year three now. I think that he's taking that next step up. Look at Shane Bieber; he did the same thing. The battle of the Shanes. Shane Bieber took those steps, the same steps. He went from a little nice season to a big season, and then to the Cy Young season. So I mean, these are the steps. This is based off of a profile. It's a stepping stone of something that you could see where these people can become elite and then go to the top 5 level. So if anything, where I was saying I wouldn't draft DeGrom, I'd probably pick him over, which means I'm probably swapping him after this episode, where that upside is kind of more of pointing in the right direction of trending up, where he's worth that 8-9 pick as pitcher, whereas other pitchers I wouldn't like. You want to throw shade on throw shade on me for Nola, but I'd pick him over Nola. I think he's a better pitcher, and I think that the situation's better, and the park is better. And I think that he's going to be way more consistent this year than Nola, because Nola just flat out dies. So, there's some games where he just straight blow up. Shane McClanahan, as long as he hurt, he's lights out every single game in and out. So that's why he's ranked number 9 and going to be 8 after this episode.
No, I think you make a lot of great points on why, because I'll be honest with you, I'm probably one of the low guys in the industry on McClanahan. And, so I think maybe I have to defend my position more than you have to defend yours, to be honest. But as I said, I think I'm deeming this that I'm trying to pick on you a little bit for your rankings here. So just to, I'm going to give you the opposite side of this. He did have the shoulder impingement last year, August 31st. And then even when he came back from it, he didn't look, necessarily great. Let's do this way. Because I'm gonna do a little bit of how he looked after he came back from the injury, right? So let's go with his starts from September 15th to October 1st, which is 4 starts. Not a very, very small sample size. He didn't look right. So I kind of want to see what he has going on, this spring training, make sure everything's okay. It's a 5.21 ERA and 19 innings for him and only 12 strikeouts. The whip was kind of high. Let's see if I can get the whip here. The whip was walks and hits. Yeah, he was like a 1-2 once again. So, it is coming off the injury. And then it was, 5 runs against Tampa Bay. Oh, no, 5 runs against Houston. Then 4 runs against Toronto and 2 runs against Houston. And once again, the strikeout numbers weren't huge. And it's a guy, who's, only really done it once. So I'm kind of more of a let me take the secure guys. That's why I was saying, Aaron Nola or Julio Urias, guy, and Brandon Woodruff specifically. Those 3, maybe everybody else you could debate, but I think those 3 guys specifically, I would take over Shane McClanahan just because I know what I'm going to get with Woodruff. I know what I'm going to get with Nola. I know what I'm gonna get with those guys. So I kind of take more of the safety route. So with that being said, you could kind of lean either way with McClanahan here. Maybe you split the difference between me and Matt, right? And you say, okay, maybe he does land somewhere behind at least the 3 guys I said, because I have a whole bunch of other guys ranked over McClanahan. Maybe it's my personal bias or whatever. But I think we both made a good points here, Matt. I definitely think you made a point. Maybe I'll wind up moving him up a couple. maybe I could push him over, like a Rodon. Let's see where Rodon lands. I got my boy Christian Javier super high. Maybe we'll talk about him some point a little bit later coming up. But I love me some Christian Javier. Yeah, so Matt, once again, I was looking at the outfielder rankings over here, and I was just like, there's a few names stuck out to me because we were talking in private about a few names, but I don't even think I brought this one up to you, so I might be throwing you for a little bit of a loop here.
That's fine.
And that's Starling Marte. Starling Marte. Looked like you had him a little low. I got him at 17. And let me hop back in over here on yours. And you got him buried, my brother. You got him buried at 33. So, Starling Marte, just a guy who had a great year last year on a Mets team that, is only going to be better. Let's see Starling Marte's numbers from last year here. Last year, Mr. Marte had 76 runs, 16 bombs, 63 RBIs, 18 steals, and he had 292. Now, I know not stats aren't going to blow you away. They're not, ginormous stats. And once again, that was only in 118 games, so he missed a couple games there with injury. He's getting a little bit older. But I think Starling Marte is a guy that I got to be at least around that top 20 because you kind of know it's a decent pop, decent steals combo. I think the runs and RBIs could be a little bit higher as long as he stays healthy this year. And a guy that hits 300 in a very good lineup like that, especially if they lose a Brandon Nimmo and Starling Marte moves up to the top of that lineup, I think he could be closer to, 85, 90 runs. The pop is probably going to be around the same. I wouldn't expect any more than like 16-ish home runs. The steals, the steals could be interesting because he had 47 steals in 2021 and, 18 last year. And then, with the bases, getting a little bit bigger and you can only throw over to first 2 times. I think the steals might pop up from 18 to 20, 25-ish. And once again, guys can hit you over 300. I think you got to move him up a little bit, man. I think at least a little bit. I think I got to move him up a little bit.
Nah, not even.
Okay, so let's hear it.
So my problem with Starling Marte is his stats are nice and rounded. There's 5 categories contributed, but they aren't impressive in any category. He's like one of those guys that's like mediocre. Dude, he's the kid that gets an 80 on every test in the class. That's what he is.
Taking 80 at outfield this year.
I mean, no, but you know what I'm saying though. Like he's the mediocre good outfielder, if you know what I mean. So like there's no upside to him, right? You get what you get, but it's going to be mediocre. Especially if he's not leading off like he hasn't been, and they do re-sign the 2 guys, and he's back in that 2 hole. What's he doing? He's not really getting ribs. He's not allowed to steal the stolen bases because there's always somebody in front of him. The batting average is fantastic, but he's not getting you any counting stats. So, like I said, he's mediocrely good. Now, if he starts going on the leadoff end, then there's an upside, right? Then he's going to get a bump in my rankings. Then the steal possibility is going to be there. But right now, I mean, 16 and 18, that's great, man. But I want somebody. I rather draft an outfielder with pop at that point because I can fill the steals in another position in my outfield. Whereas outfield is honestly loaded with power hitters. So, and the guys that are going to contribute in 4 categories and 4 really well, not mediocrely, well, 90 runs, 90 ribbies.
All right, well, here's where I'm going to throw the pressure on you. Mm-hmm. So you're talking the talk, but now you got guys like Yelich and Trent Grisham over him. Yelich is going to do. He's like a Starling Marte light. Yelich is nobody anymore. He's going to hit you at 250. He doesn't have the pop anymore. He's not going to steal as many bases. He's on a worse team, and then don't even get me started on Trent Grisham. You got to put Marte above Trent Grisham, bro. Trent Grisham's not going to do anything. Trent Grisham is going to. I wish that we were a non-PG podcast because I got some choice words for Trent Grisham.
I don't know. Trent Grisham at the end of the year kind of showed some. So I'm kind of riding the wave on that one. He's upsy down. I could probably give you that one. But
he had one good round in the playoffs, and then he went back to his normal Trent Grisham self after that.
Let's see. He's probably going to get dropped down. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. Good. At least I got you on one of them. All right. That makes me feel better.
But Yelich showed me something last year that we haven't seen. Hasn't showed me in a while. Yeah, he's older. Yeah, the batting average isn't there anymore. But he's stealing bases, and I think the pop can come back. This is also
runs did he hit last year?
19. At 14.
14.
So this is also a year where there was a season low in home runs. Like they went from the juice ball to like the 600 years dead ball.
Yeah, they're gonna keep it the same.
So like but guys are going to adjust now. That everybody's always working with their launch angles, the way they're approaching the bat, approaching the ball. Pitchers had a tough time with the ball in the beginning of the year too. So like, there's a few things everybody's going to make their adjustments with year 2 of the ball. I think we're going to see a spike in home runs from last year because last year was atrocious, and I think he could be one of those people that are going to make an adjust. He's a good hitter. So I'm willing to take the shot, but also too now looking at it, he's probably going to get a drop too, but not below Starling Marte though.
Ah,
I have some work to do on my outfield rankings though.
fair enough. This is why we do this. This is why we're doing it though. And for everybody else out there, Matt and I are having a nice friendly back and forth here. But you know what? If you have any problems, go out there. Oh, breaking news: Brendan Nimmo stays with the Mets.
See,
as we're here on the podcast.
Done.
It's a big contract too. It's a big contract.
Done.
A big contract. So Starling Marte might stay hitting, second, third in that lineup. So all right. Fair enough. We got to move Brendan Nimmo back up the lineups. All right, but we're gonna move on.
And you got to move down. You got to move down Starling Marte. There's no more high steals upside.
Yeah, let me see. I'll dibble dabble back into the rankings with Marte. Maybe once again we'll find a nice happy medium. Maybe you move him up, I'll move him down. We'll find our nice little sweet spot for him. But let's keep it going here. We got another one here. And I want to make sure we get this guy in. So I'm going to move a little bit around here on the way we had the list ordered. I'm moving around here because this one might get heated, because I have a lot of smack to talk about this guy. And I'm going to have to find some ways to put this on the PG podcast here. Lucas Giolito.
I knew this was coming.
Here's the thing, guys. Matt and I have our big money home league that we do every single year. And I somehow magically got the first pick in the randomizer after winning this 2 years ago. And, somebody didn't keep Lucas Giolito. And I said, oh, no brainer. Let me add him to my my Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta, rotation, which, turned out to be not as good as I thought. And I took Lucas Giolito with the first pick, right? And, my gripe with Lucas Giolito, not that Matt has him too high. Matt, what do you got him in the 50s, right? Somewhere in the 50s, I believe, around 51, maybe 52 in that range. Because I'm going to pull up where I got 52. him. I absolutely – all right, so Matt's got him at 52. I buried him, and I know I'm probably the low man in the whole industry on this guy. And I got him at 81. Once again, I got Lucas Giolito buried at 81. And let me speak my piece, and then Matt will come to his defense here and say why, there might be a chance. So with Lucas Giolito, right, and I'm going to pull up some stats to back this up. I'm going to sit up here, and I'm going to get into this one because this one gets me a little hype. Okay, I should have known better because I did hear this, 2 years ago that, Lucas Giolito is a spider tack guy. Apparently that's what helped him, from the 2018 6.13 ERA to next 3 years of, greatness, right? So I'm going to go into, his 2021 year, and I'm going to give you his stats after the spider tack ban. If, once again, Baseball Reference wants to work with me here. Now, we all know the crappy year that Giolito had this year, horrible ERA, horrible whip, strikeouts were all right. And he made a bunch of starts. But I'm going to go back to, after they banned the spider tack a few years ago. And I'm going to pull up the stats here for you. And let's see. Maybe they're not atrocious as I thought, but I still don't think they're great. Oh, no, they are atrocious. Okay, good. So this is 2021, right? Or am I in 2022? Maybe I did hit 2022. Guys, bear with me here because, once again, doing a live podcast isn't always the easiest thing. Well, we're not live, but, we're kind of live here. Me and Matt, we can just pause this and be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to go back once again. Spider Tack ban for Lucas Giolito 2021, and I'm going to give you his stats there, right? So it's 15 starts for Giolito after they banned the Spider Tack, right? Did I pick the right date? Yeah. And actually, the stats aren't as bad as as you would think, but they're not absolutely blowing you away here either, right? So it's a 3.6 ERA, 15 starts, 85 innings, 90 Ks. But here's the thing: it's 22 walks and 72 hits. So that's pushing the whip up to like a 1.2-ish range, right? And the FIP's a little bit higher at like a 3.9. So I'm not really blown away by those numbers. And then you come into 2022 and he absolutely drops the ball, and Giolito gives you a 4.9 ERA across 30 starts. So he basically made all of his starts. 161 innings, 177 Ks, and that comes from a guy who would normally K around 200 in that amount of innings, and it's a 1.43 WHIP. So he killed you in the ERA, he killed you in the WHIP. He won 11 games, 9 losses, so that's not helping you out that much either. And the FIP is bad too. Once again, we don't really have to get too crazy into the stats, but FIP is fielding and independent pitching. It's an ERA indicator if you're not familiar with it, and it was a 406. So it's not like it was the defense or anything else. It was kind of just him being bad overall. So I'm just going out on the limb and saying now that they don't have the spider tack, and he kind of reverted back to before he supposedly started using it, to the a very very 2018 Giolito season with that bad ERA, bad WHIP, couple good strikeout games, and that's really all you got out of the guy. I just don't think it's worth it to go back in there and pay the price in the 50s, where I got guys in the 50s like I got Jack Flaherty, who I'd rather try and get a good season from him. You got Nick Lodolo. You got just guys Lance McCullers, Sonny Gray, just guys that I'd rather take. Another one of my favorites, Hunter Green, I got at 48. I would just at that range, I would rather take shots on guys like that I think just have way more upside than it looks like Giolito has left in the tank. I know he's only going to be 28 years old, but man, he's got to show me something. He's got to show me something. I'm sorry it was such a long-winded rant, but he really screwed me last year. So Matt, I'm sorry it took so long on that one. I would like to hear your thoughts on Giolito.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you need a tampon?
I need 2.
I think so. Super.
I need 2. I need 2 tampons.
Because you sound like a whiny ex-girlfriend right now. So
I'm scorned. I'm a scorned ex, man.
Oh my God, it's actually horrendous on your end. So I mean, 82 is atrocious. I mean, I think it's an outright. It's an outright
criminally low. Criminally low.
Criminally.
I'm
criminally,
biased.
you might as well be Brittany Gardner in a Russian prison right now.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's how I look at this, right? Yeah, he had a bad year, but you know who also did this? Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer.
Look where Trevor Bauer is now.
Well, he didn't rape anybody, so we're good. But look at Trevor Bauer in his career, right? He had up and down years. He always tinkered with something, especially he had to tinker. Giolito specifically had to tinker since there's no more spider tack, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Probably tried a new release angle to get that spin rate up, which is what made him so successful in the previous year. So he's fine. I think this year, especially since the K's were there. The K's were there, right? He didn't have his he didn't have his 200-year home. He had 177 and 161 innings.
Yeah.
So he didn't get his super 190, since that's the kind of range he probably would add. But the K's were there. He was still having nice performances, and he got lit up. His home run rate was outrageous last year, and that's really was his big difference in his previous years. Pitches were hanging. Now I think he's going to make an adjustment. He's a great pitcher. Talent like that doesn't just die. Now he
gave up more home runs in 2021 than he did last year.
Yeah, but what's his fly ball rate?
I don't know if we're that kind of podcast.
I
don't know if we're doing all that.
But hold on. The reason why I say what's the fly ball rate in 2021 versus 2022 would be the difference of a couple feet. Now the fly ball rate could be the difference of making it over the fence or not. And I don't mean to get too analytic. And
no. I'm just busting chops.
Yeah, but this is where also I flex my muscles of when we give you stats. I do know what I'm talking about, guys. Just so you know, I can name a fly ball rate, and his fly ball rate is also a matter of luck too, because depending on where those fly balls go, it could also fly over the fence, and it's a matter of luck at the same time. He probably just had a bad luck season, along with tinkering. So back to my Trevor Bauer point, he is probably playing with something of his stance, his release, his grip, his everything, a new pitch, something of the sort that's messed with this season, and power through it. I don't have him criminally low or criminally high. I have him at 52.
Let's check.
He's my
I think
pitcher
you're on
5.
par with the market. I think you're on par with the market. I'm going to check where he's going off.
He's like my pitcher 5-4, which, to be honest, a guy that's going to get me 177 Ks as my pitcher 5 is going to be great, especially in a 12-man league, 15-man league. You can't beat that. That's a great steal at pitcher 52. I think it's criminal
Did I pass?
for people
I
to
had
pass up on him.
Okay, yeah. So you're basically on par with the market. So far in early ADP, and this is including relief pitchers because I'm going by NFBC, who's the only really place where anyone's doing drafts at the moment, and they just go by pitcher. They don't have you can't sort by starting pitcher and relief pitcher. So including relief pitchers, he's going off the board at 61. So I would assume if you take all of those relief pitchers out, he's exactly where you have him
Yeah.
at like in the high 50s.
So
So
that's
you're on
what,
par with the market. It's me. I'm the one who's the score
yeah,
index here. It's me.
dude, for real. Just like use a little lube, get it out of your butt, and let's call
But
it
let me
that.
ask you, Matt. Let me ask you a question, right? So I have the ADP pulled up here, right? So let me take off my bias, and I'm just gonna ask you some serious questions here. No, no more of me being all
Sure.
silly about all this, right? Let's get serious for the fans here.
Sure.
Now here's the next couple of people who are going under him. An honest answer, Matt. Honest. Tell me if you would take Lucas Giolito or these other guys.
Okay.
Would you take Lucas Giolito or Chris Bassett?
Giolito.
Really?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Bassett. If you ever watch Bassett pitch, and this is a little
I
sidebar.
had him last year. I've watched him pitch.
So the difference between this year and last year is there's a pitching clock now. If you ever watch
Yeah.
Bassett pitch, it's the most uncomfortable thing to watch because
Oh,
it takes
you're
about
right. Yeah,
40
he
minutes
takes his
to-
time. You're
Right.
100% right. 100% right.
I think at the rate of speed that he's going to have to pitch, it's actually going to affect him dramatically. I actually have him ranked pretty low.
You got him that low? I gotta see where I have him because I got him kind of high.
So actually, I have him a little higher than I thought, but he's going
See,
down.
I got him at 37.
I had him at 43, but that's actually getting changed as we speak. So now
Okay.
he's at 52, and Giolito moved up one.
Fair enough. All right, so Lucas Giolito or Pablo Lopez?
That's a tough
See?
one.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Some of these guys that are going under. Here's a great
I'll probably
one.
say Giolito though.
Here's a great one. Lucas Giolito or Tony Gonsolin?
Oh,
Because
it's going to be Giolito. Gonsolin's above.
wow, damn, wow. Yeah, I disagree with all these guys. I think Tony Gonsolin's going criminally low right now at the 67th overall pitcher on NFBC ADP.
He's a one-hit wonder. He's
Bro,
going to be
let's
decent
do
this
it.
year, but he's going to be a one-hit wonder. He's going to have this
Let's do
one
a quick-
wonderful year, but if you look at the second
do
half
a
of the
quick-
season, he started to die off a
Quick
little
Tony
bit.
Gonsolin sidebar. Quick, and guys, see, this is why you need to tune in to the Fantasy Baseball MDs because we're giving you real like debates here and real like talks about rankings and stuff like that. I don't see a lot of other podcasts giving you kind of like these analytical debates and really going into their own rankings and saying, hey, this and this and this. Maybe there's a couple out there, but we're really giving you that really balls to the walls type of debate here. So with Tony Gonsolin, right, Matt? Let's talk about this. In his whole career, which is from 2019 to last year, which is 4 years for Mr. Gonsolin, his win-loss record is 26 wins, 6 losses, right? Great record. A 2.51 ERA over 51 starts, 59 overall games, 272 innings, 267 strikeouts, and a career 0.98 whip. What is am I the crazy one? The guy's thrown 272 innings of 2.51 ERA and an 0.98 whip for Mr. Gonsolin at almost a strikeout per inning. And the guy had a career year last year. Gonsolin last year, 214 ERA, 24 starts, 130 innings, 119 Ks, 0.87 whip.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he going off the board
because
at 67?
Because he still hasn't hit the innings count. I mean, 130 innings this year, 55 last year. I mean, the guy one can't stay healthy. Two, yeah, he's good when he pitches, but I mean, at the same time, I want to see him do it for 170 innings. And what's that going to look like by the end? Another 40 innings could be the difference between this and a high 3 ERA. And honestly, at the end of the season last year, he was not looking so hot coming off that injury. So I mean,
McClanahan didn't either. Can't use that argument for one guy.
Gonsolin came back earlier than McClanahan. McClanahan came back the last month. Yeah. Gonsolin was back right after the All-Star break, so there was that whole 2 months, and he did not look great. He had a couple of really nice starts, and then it was. So I'm sorry, like it's one of those things where just like Gonsolin is just a guy I want to actually see throw 170 innings, and then we can talk about him. But that's why he's so.
Where do you got him ranked? Because I'm pretty high on Gonsolin. I got Gonsolin at 30. I'm pretty high on him.
God. I'm just gonna shut up. I have him at 30. That's coming down.
Yeah, see, you got him at 30 as well.
It's coming down though.
All right, fair enough. I don't know. That's just guys. We'll move on. We'll move on because we're getting a little hot and heavy here with this one.
Oof.
All right, Matt. We're gonna do a little
Mm.
preview, right? Because we're gonna release our prospect ranking soon, and there is somebody that Matt is super super high on. One of his boys here, or Matt. Do we got any little more Tony Gonsolin comment or?
Gonsolin's at 51 now. Lucas
All right.
Giolito's at 43.
You're a psychopath, but we'll that's we'll talk about this off the podcast because I feel like we've given enough information for the people. Let's move on to somebody else here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of Matt's boys. Matt, Matt had a little something on his face after he got the call up last year. So and that's Miguel Vargas, right? And that's one of Matt's boys. It looks like he might get the job as the starting third baseman. I don't think they're going to re-sign Justin Turner, so it looks like Miguel Vargas should. I agree with this too. He should get the opening day job. But Matt, my boy, you're really going hard for Miguel Vargas. You got him ranked eighth as the eighth third baseman coming off the board on Matt's team here. I mean Matt's ranking. Sorry about that. Ahead of guys like Gunnar Henderson, Max Muncy.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree with you on almost everybody else there. I will say that, because I will say this too. If Miguel Vargas does get the starting job, he's going to fly up my rankings too. I just kind of have him ranked as I'm not sure where he's going yet. So don't go to my rankings and think I got Miguel Vargas too low because, I'm just not 100% sure if he's getting the opening day job yet. When he did get the call last year, unfortunately, he wasn't getting consistent playing time, and it might have been because of performance. It might have been because of a few other things. But I'll just read you off.
He got doctored.
Miguel Vargas, yeah, Miguel Vargas last year, 18 games, 47 at bats, 4 runs, 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 1 steal, and he hit 170 with 13 strikeouts in those 18 games. So he didn't perform great, but in the minors last year, kid absolutely killed it. 304, average, 82 RBI, 16 steals, 17 bombs, 100 RBIs in 113 games. And Matt, I'm going to let you speak. I just want to see where he's coming off the board right now in the early drafts as far as third basemen go. Oh my God, they got him buried, Matt. They buried you, boy.
They don't even know yet, but I mean, it's also early rankings, so like people still don't know what the deal is. So I mean, if I'm drafted now, he's one of my last couple picks, but I'm not drafting him as my number 8.
I had to have passed him. No. Go ahead, man. No, really. Do your Miguel Vargas, right? I'm just looking over here. I think I passed him.
But I think by the time we get closer to spring training, we get more answers. This kid's going to climb. Because here's the deal. His stats may look the way it did after last season, but you got to remember, when his first day at bat, he hit a bomb ski, and he stole a base, and he batted 300. His second day, he had another couple of hits, and he stole another base, I believe, right? He had 2 stolen bases last year?
Nah, he only had 1. It was that first game. I think he went with that combo meal in that first one.
Right.
So the home run and the steal.
I apologize, but he got a hit in both games. Boom. And he kept rolling. And then he got dodgered. And then he wasn't playing. And then he played, and then he looked like butt. So then he sent him down. But I mean, when a guy's not playing every single day and he doesn't have a starting job, meanwhile, Turner sucked, and Turner also was hurt, should have been playing that whole time, and should have just kept the job because the kid was a monster. And just to roll out, I mean, third base really isn't that wonderful this year. I'm not really a fan of who's there outside of I have Rendon. That's painful. Gunnar Henderson's going to be fantastic. Alec Boehm really isn't a fantasy contributor, but he could take that step forward in that lineup, especially working now with Trey Turner and all those great hitters.
Yeah, Bryce Harper. I didn't know this, but I did hear somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly where I heard this, but supposedly Bryce Harper took Boehm under his wing after the whole. He came out and what he said about Philly, and then Bryce Harper's like, "Come here, young buck. Come here. Let me teach you a good thing or two." And that's where he took off.
So he has some upside, but he's nothing crazy. Max Muncy took an absolute flop, but I didn't bury him. He's 13.
He was hurt though. Muncy was coming off that bad shoulder injury, and he started hitting those bombs at the end of the year though.
But I didn't bury him. He's still 12. He's still 12. But after Muncy, what is it? Yohanis Suarez? I'm sorry. Miguel Vargas comes up and he has that starting job. I'd take a shot over him and Henderson about tied. Rendon's only there.
You're high on him.
Rendon is the only other the person in between them right now, and that's because Rendon, if he plays a full healthy season, forget about it. He's incredible. He could be a top 5 third baseman. So that's where I'm at right now. So it's hard to do what I'm doing, but I love Miguel Vargas. I think he's going to be a great one. He could be my next Bobby Witt pick. And I call Bobby Witt, and this podcast, Dom specifically called Julio. Well, I called Julio too, but
I was the Julio guy. I was
you were the Julio guy.
out of
That,
everybody in the industry. I think I had him the highest out
you
of
did.
everyone last year.
Yes, and if you listened to us last year, I got him
Yeah,
off the waiver wire last year.
yeah.
It was just phenomenal.
I will say this though, Matt. I found out the thing with Vargas, right? So apparently, and I didn't even know this, until right now. He only played one game at third base last year, right? He played 8 games at first base, and then he played 7 games in the outfield.
So defense is the
So,
problem.
so on NFBC, they have him as first base only, and he's actually coming off the board as the 29th first baseman, and you're getting him at pick 316 right now. So once again, I'm actually gonna actually wind up backing that up here on this one. If you can get Miguel Vargas after pick 300 and the 29th first baseman, that's a steal right now. That's an absolute steal because I would have him over Tristan Casas. I'd have him over DJ LeMahieu. And these are guys who are going ahead of Miguel Vargas on NFBC ADP right now. I'm taking him over Seth Brown. I'm taking him over okay, then it gets sketchy around 20 because then you got guys who really, are kind of have done it. Like you got a Luis Ariz, you got your Josh Bells, you got your Rowdy Tellez who hit a bunch of home runs last year. And then you kind of get into some tough ones like Rizzo and Ty France and guys like that who are, where that's where the debate comes in. I just wanted to point out this name because it's a name that you guys should have on your radar. It's somebody that Matt absolutely loves. We're not gonna reveal this yet, but Matt's got him kind of high on his prospects list. We're gonna talk about that more in the prospect episode. But you know what? That's a good amount of Miguel Vargas talk. Matt, let's get into some guys that we absolutely need to have on our teams for next year. I'll start off with one of mine. This is somebody once again who Matt and I both love. Somebody I drafted last year in almost all of my drafts. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 drafts where I didn't get him, and that's Jesus Luzardo. I mean, this guy is just. I'm gonna have him on hopefully almost all my teams again this year. And he was just like absolute monster last year before he got hurt. Last year, Luzardo pitched 18 games, 3.32 ERA, 100 innings, 120 strikeouts, and a 103 whip. Guy's still only going to be 25 next year. And Luzardo was always a top-end prospect, and he finally figured it out last year, a full year with the Marlins. And the trick is, once he got traded to the Marlins in 2021, I literally called Matt as I was watching his first start. And Matt, what did I say to you? Do you remember what I said to you?
They put the glasses on, baby.
They put the glasses on him. Exactly. They gave Jesus Luzardo glasses, and that was the problem, apparently, is that he couldn't see things clearly. They got him a new prescription, and I said, hey, make sure you got these on during the games. And look, it panned out for him this year. I just think Jesus Luzardo is somebody you're going to want to have on all your teams. I will let Matt rant about him in a second. I just want to see where he's going on ADP right now, so I can give you an idea where you can get this guy because it's probably criminally low, to be honest with you. Okay, so he's going off the board. Matt, 1 pick before your boy Giolito at pick 60. And I'm taking Jesus Luzardo. I mean, not pick 60, as the 60th pitcher off the board, a pick 154 to be specific. And I'll tell you guys where I got Jesus Luzardo ranked because it's a lot higher than that. I got Jesus Luzardo as my 32nd pitcher off the board. So if you're getting a ton of value there, if you can get him at pick 154, 60th pitcher off the board. Matt, are you chiming in with me on the love on Luzardo? Are we going to agree on something today or what?
Well, I mean, I love Luzardo too. He's my 35th pitcher. So
exactly. So we're in step. We're in step with that one.
I mean, Luzardo's great. I mean, he could be the next Zach Gallen and then some. So
yes, yeah, preach.
So I mean, like the upside's there, and I mean, he just had a bad string of luck, and my man also had vision problems.
When he got hurt, his phalanges aren't the best, but hopefully we're gonna hope for better.
And when you see 3 home plates, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You don't know where the strike zone is. So
exactly.
I think that the talent's there. I think he's going to be a great fantasy asset this year. I am very excited to see what he's going to do in a full season. Hopefully, he gets that. I'm picking him. I'm picking him probably as I feel comfortable as my 3rd pitcher.
Okay. 3rd, 4th.
I prefer him as my 4th, but
yes.
If I had to choose between a couple people, he may be the one. If I'm trying to go upside, if I went 2 safe guys and then he's sitting there, and I'm just like, okay, let me get that upside. That's probably what I'm roll with. So no matter how you want to construct your pitching. So let me move on to one of my guys.
Look who his mentor is, though. Real quick, Sandy Alcantara is his mentor. Not a bad mentor.
No,
but
not
go
at
on,
all.
Matt. Sorry. Also,
Miami's just a great team to just build pitching, but that's just me. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go to the same team. The same team. And I'm going to go with my boy, Mr. Jazz Chisholm. Okay.
Oh, that's sweet jazz music. Love it. Love it.
Oh my God. So everybody, if you listened to us preseason last year, which wasn't many because I made a boo-boo with posting our stuff, but Jazz was one of my guys that I said, hey, is going to be the best second baseman or one of the best second basemen. And I was
I
right.
listened to you, Matt. I
You did.
listened to you.
I didn't listen to me. I let Dom get in my head last year. But
A little bit.
Jazz, though, Jazz did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Unfortunately, he got a case of the phalanges. For all of you that are new, phalanges are somebody that's injury prone or just getting hurt, or got hurt multiple times. He had a lot of soft tissue issues, and that's something that I was very hesitant about, and I warned people about when you pick him the year before. He has some soft tissue issues. Hopefully, they're going to work that out this season. I'm still drafting him pretty high. I want him on all my teams this year.
Where do you got him, Matt? Where do you got him?
Well,
Do I have him higher than you? I hope so.
I got him 4.
Let me see. I got him third.
Son of a gun.
At second base. You know what the difference is? Is Ozzy Albies. That's the difference.
Well, I got Albies at 1. Oh,
Yeah,
you got him at 4.
Yeah.
Got you. But Jazz is great. I think Jazz could finish as the number 1. The kid's got power. Kid's got speed.
Easily.
And honestly, last year he started to show that he even's got a little bit more of an average. He was batting 254, but I think if it wasn't for coming in and out of injuries, when he was consistent, he was hot. You remember he was hitting like 270, 280. And if he could just stay healthy and keep that groove going, he can be a 280 hitter. And then he's a phenomenal bat. And that's high upside. But I mean, shoot, I'll take him with 250 and everything else he's doing. He's an incredible player.
Yeah, man. I'm just going to agree with everything you said pretty much there. I will add, I don't know if I'm as high on him as far as the average goes with you, but as a player in general, I absolutely love him. I got him as my third second baseman this year. And as Matt said, there's potential for him to finish number 1 at second base this year. If he can somehow manage to hit 260, you know the home runs are going to be there. The stolen bases are going to be there. And I think the thing that might hold him back, though, is just being in that Marlins lineup. We got to hope that some of those guys like Jesus Sanchez and a bunch of those other young guys can figure it out this year, and they can give Jazz a nice little team around him to get it done. I just think that's the only thing that might hold Jazz back from being the number 1 second baseman. But once again, guys, make sure you get Jazz on all your teams this year. Basically that's what we're saying here. So now this is going to be tough. We're going to try and keep it to 2 guys here. Let me go with I will say my other guy was Vinny Pasquantino. I do want to take that route, but I feel like everyone's talked about him. If you don't know about Vinny P, the Italian breakfast, get him on your team. But let's talk about somebody that maybe not everybody is talking about, and that's Hunter Green, right? Hunter Green had a monster year last year, breakout year. And, the thing was down the stretches where he really killed it. I will read you his whole season stats, though. 4.44 ERA, 24 starts, 125 innings, 164 Ks, and a 1.21 whip for Hunter Green. Now, who does that remind you of, Matt? Somebody we just talked about, Shane McClanahan. Had a very, very, very similar season his rookie year, and look what he did this year. I think there is a chance that Hunter Green could be this year's, Shane McClanahan. So let me see if I can just grab his game log here. I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible, guys, because we are trying to wrap this up. But let's go from here to here. And so over Hunter Green's last 8 starts, Hunter Green pitched 46 innings, 66 Ks. Matt, you ready for this? A 1.75 ERA in his last 8 starts for Hunter Green across that 46 innings with those 66 Ks. And guess what? The whip, 0.99.
Oh, he's great.
Yes, please. And Hunter Green throws gas. He might wind up getting hurt. But I think I'm taking the shot. And once again, where did I say I have Hunter Green ranked? I believe I brought it up a little while ago. I have Hunter Green as my 48th starting pitcher, which is probably a lot higher than ADP. Matt, your thoughts, and then you can wrap it up with your last guy.
I mean, Hunter Green is phenomenal. I think that he could be the next Shane McClanahan. These are also pitchers that you look out to try and snag because these are the guys that can win you leagues, especially with them counting stats in a lower draft position. He's one of those guys I'm targeting just based off of the fact that you're getting him as a value, and then you can have a Shane McClanahan. So he is definitely somebody you want to snag this year.
Yeah.
but I think you pretty much sucked them off good enough. So I'm going to move on. And I'm going to talk about my other guy. Well, the other guy was Gunnar Henderson, and the only reason it's not Miguel Vargas is because I don't know if he's actually playing this season and
Yeah.
starting off in the bigs. But I'm going to talk about my boy, somebody that everybody hates, and probably is treating him how Dom's treating Lucas Giolito, and that's Eloy Jimenez.
I'm not treating him like that, man. I love me some Eloy.
I know, but you also didn't have him last year.
Yeah,
So
true.
Eloy just got hurt for the umpteenth time, but he's not on my Flanges list. He's on my Bryce Harper list. Whereas Bryce Harper just plays way too damn hard in his young career and got himself hurt, like tearing his ACL, botching up a shoulder or a wrist or a
Running
hand.
into
Well,
walls.
exactly. Getting a concussion. Who gets a concussion in baseball? It makes no sense. It's not football. Like it just makes no
I
sense.
love that. I love that.
So, like, when you're fighting inanimate objects and you're losing, I think we should change the game. So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where Eloy could have all the upset in the world. He could be a top 10 player overall. He's incredible. And this is what he did last year when he came back from, I don't know, what was this year?
I can check. You keep going. I'll get it.
I think he
Keep
tore
going.
his chest, or was that the year before?
No, you know what? Even I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. Give me a second. Keep going. Keep going.
So he hurt himself, and then this is in 292 at bats in the second half of the season. 40 runs, 16 bombs, 54 ribbies, and batted 295.
No, okay, wait, real quick. Last year, 2021 was the pec when he ran into the wall.
Okay.
This year was a hamstring that he kept him out for a while. He had 2 stints on the IO with the hamstring this year.
Yeah.
Well,
So
last year, 2022.
Oh yeah, that's right. He had like a hamstring strain. It wasn't even like a pulled muscle. It was like a strain.
Strained hamstring.
Right. So let's just say right now he gets a full year, right? So let's add, I don't know, 250 at bats, 260 at bats, right?
Around there.
We'll double his stats.
Yeah.
That's 80 runs, which is going to be way more than that, especially if Luis Roberts is in the lineup every single game.
Yeah, but no Jose Abreu though anymore, and he was the big RBI guy. That kind of scares me a little bit.
That just puts him in the 3 hole. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But who's batting behind him to drive him in?
That's true.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I still got him super high. I'm pretty high on him.
But I'm good with even 80 runs. But the
I
bombs
actually got him. I actually got Eloy at 9. I have Eloy at 9.
I think that's higher than me.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting in the 30s bombs if he plays a full season. That's no question. He could totally get 100 ribbies this year, especially if Luis Roberts just plays and Tim Anderson's leading off. So there's always somebody in front of him. And he's going to get you the batting average. He is just a batting average person. Like, he's a stud. And even that year
280 career hitter. 280 career hitter.
Right. And he could hit 300. Like, we all know this. And even the year when he tore his chest open and said, "I have no chest no more," and he did it, and this is 21 in 213 at bats. This is just ridiculous. 23 runs, 10 bombs, 37 ribbies, and he batted 249. But you know what? He just got a new chest.
And he did have a good stretch there to finish out the year, I believe.
Oh my God, yeah. He just is such a good talent. Now, if he could just play a full season, God, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. I'll say this, real quick, and then we'll let you guys go. My thoughts on Eli is pretty much the same. Very high. Actually, I might move him down a tiny, tiny bit because I don't think the runs are going to be there, but I think it's easily 30 plus bombs. I think the RBIs are going to be in like the 85 to 90 range, depending on, Tim Anderson and, Luis Roberts staying healthy. And then as Matt said, guy's a career, 276 hitter, you bump that up to, I think he could hit anywhere from like 285 to 300. So if you're talking about a guy that's going to have 75 runs, 35 home runs, around 80 RBIs, and he's going to hit you, close to 300. It's somebody you're going to want on all your teams, and he's going criminally low this year. So Eloy, is another guy that you're going to want to have on all your teams. So, fantasy baseball MDs are back, for the 2023 season. We're going to try and bring you at least maybe one episode a week, for, the rest of December. But otherwise than that, we should be back to normal in January. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you next time.
Peace.